Hello, I'm Dr. Ray.
Hi, and I'm Eric. So we're going to talk about millennials and why millennials might struggle to have the power in their relationships. So give us a little details on that, Dr. A.
So think of when we talk about power struggles, you can look at that as if you have one person who's a thinker and another person's a feeler. There's going to be a harmony in that. If you have a person who's thinking, another person's thinking, that neutralizes energy. Or a person who feels, another person feels, that neutralizes energies. For example, how the two feelers, you probably have had this. Have you been in a relationship where you're sharing your feelings? The other person has a reaction to what you're sharing. He or she starts sharing their feelings about how you made them feel. And
Hmm.
then you feel unheard because they are talking about their feelings. And all of a sudden you're trying to share, he or she's trying to share. And then the topic starts here. And all of a sudden you're over here. It just spirals out
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you have two
yeah.
people. There's not someone who's thinking, well, there needs to be that balance. So that's one way to look at that, two feminine people. Um, Also, another way to look at this is giving and receiving. In a relationship, it's not really about equality, it's about equity. It's about the experience of giving and receiving. For example, when you give, part of the joy of the gifting for yourself is seeing the expression on the person's face, them being able to receive. So if two people have difficulty giving and receiving, for example, both people are givers or the person just is uncomfortable receiving, you don't feel received. That blocks the flow. That creates a power struggle. And the way that this kind of leads to, say, millennials is that a lot of women or girls who are millennials embody a lot of masculine qualities.
Hmm.
A lot of the men today, boys today, embody a lot of feminine qualities.
Yep.
So in that is that they are neutralizing each other. Like the not that I'm coming from a school where you have to have clear roles that you're the man, you do this, and you're the woman, you do this.
Hmm.
But in that, you have two people who do not know how to fit in each other's lives because they're playing out a different role. It might be a younger girl who has become more performance driven. She's more in her masculine, and here's this person that she's with, who that's even maybe how he is, and so they start clashing. They don't know how they fit in each other's lives, and so, and that what ends up happening is like it's the question of why would I be in a relationship with you when I can do everything myself? Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's, if you look at divorce rates, if you look at the homes that don't have like a father in the home, so the children are raised by a single mother. And listen, single mothers do amazing jobs, but there's a reason that there's that polarity. There's value in having both the masculine role model and the feminine role model in both, whether it's a female or a man's life as he grows up. And I think that's particularly in the millennial generation, there's really been a full generation where it's like there's been a lot of kids raised without those role models. And what I see is like a lot of the women they turn to the masculine not because it's their ideal, but they're programmed to do it by their parents. Especially a single mother says to her daughter, "Go get an education, make your own money," because
You don't want to
they
rely on a
don't
man.
feel
The most
they don't.
what I hear most commonly is that they say you can't rely on a man.
Well, that's exactly the next words out of my mouth. Is
Yeah.
they're basically telling them you may not be able to trust a man, therefore you're going to have to turn yourself first. But most of these women will admit to you when you have an honest conversation with them about this. They'll say like, yeah, like it's almost like they're looking for that masculine hero, that leader to show up and finally let them finally go, ah, and like relax into that, to not feel like all the pressure of having to like provide and and all those things. Or at least be able to at least share in that role. You know what I mean? They're craving that so much, right? So they'll tell you on the surface, like, I don't need a man, or they'll vent these frustrations that they have. But if you read behind what they're saying, what they're really saying is I don't trust the men today. They don't take care of business. They have their head in video games all day. They're just swipe
Yes.
on Tinder and blah blah blah, and they don't do what they say they're going to do. They waver, all this stuff, right? So they don't trust you. So if you can shift that and awaken and just own that, Okay, and there's an opportunity awaiting for you as a man, because when you shift there, you're going to really stand out against a lot of the other, especially millennial age men. And women will just absolutely gravitate to you whenever you stand up. So I know you have a course, right? You have for men, and you kind of basically teach them how to go through this and awaken that.
Yeah, it basically is a course to kind of connect you to your true essence, not what I guess you say was given to you. In other words, I mean, it's if you're raised by a woman how to be a man, then you probably embody a lot of those qualities, and so therefore and you now are very sensitive. And keep in mind that it's okay to be sensitive as a man, but most women want you to be sensitive to their feelings. And so
Exactly.
when you're oversensitive, that creates that power struggles and conversations. To add a little bit what you said, I know you asked me about the course, is that keep in mind that we don't need each other to coexist. So in other words, we're not saying the 1950s model was better, but it was very clear what the roles were, and it was where the men needed the women, and women needed the men. And now everyone's independent. Now it's where you can have access to anyone to hook up with, and so people they can't figure out what would be the reason to coexist or to get married, especially if you've been brought up to be more in communities. So you don't feel the attraction because you don't maybe need it. And so I can see why there would be the power struggles. But when you move past that and you open up your heart, what I mean open up your heart is where you can see a woman fully, when you can get past your own shit, then what ends up happening is that two people really show up and they can see how they're great mirrors to grow. So yes, you can get sex all the time. Yes, you probably want to avoid struggles and conflict and so forth. But no matter what, they're going to show up. So why not learn how to be able to handle those things? And I just think that we all pretty much yearn to be with someone and have that connective relationship. But if it's all on a level of the surface stuff, meaning the basic survival stuff, who goes out and has a job and who's the one who takes care of the children, we go beyond that. What's left? It's just two naked people who really want to be seen, be heard, and connect to something deeper. And the only way that that's going to happen, and the only way to move past the struggles, is to move past your inner struggle. And that's what I do in my course.
Yeah, and it's a really good course. And I know you've been working with both men and women for almost 20 years, one-on-one coaching them, and you see these issues come up over and over and over again. So you really know what you're talking about. You have a really good baseline of like where men are, and I was there when we filmed the course, and I saw the reactions of all the men in the room. I even went through the exercises myself, and what I loved about it was that it wasn't only the information side. You don't only just paint the pretty picture of the ideal and give empowering information about psychology and all that, but it's really the techniques and the exercise. It's kind of with that recipe that you have on the side as well, so that you're able to really create some masculine wisdom, so people can connect to it, feel it, embody it, experience it, and then have these like shifts. And you can revisit these exercises over and over, especially if you feel. Listen, if you look at pop culture, if you look at media, look at movies, you're going to get mixed messages about what masculinity is. You're going to get false masculinity. You're going to see false feminine energy. It's all these things that are just. The world is a little upside down on this right now, and this course is a great way to recalibrate and connect to what you probably have a deep sense that is the real you, and know how to express that in the world. And the amazing thing is, once you do it, as soon as you start to do it, it's just like going to the gym. You're going to feel results. You're going to feel better right away. Give it a little bit of time, and real results, what other people will notice, will start to show up in just a very short amount of time if you make these changes. So what we'll do is we'll put the link to the course right here. So please go check it out. It is a ridiculously small investment, especially because I know what Dr. Ray charges for one-on-one coaching. Just even it's way less than even just an hour with Dr. Ray would be. And there's about 4 hours of content packed into this this course. Very, very reasonably priced. So check out the link here and go get it and change your life. Do you have any final words for this video, Dr. Ray?
If you like this video, please share it and like it and leave comments whether you agree or disagree, and if there's something else you'd like us to talk about, leave those comments also, and we will definitely maybe make a video about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Dr. A.
You're welcome.